Yes.
Another way that you've used your campus to expose people to college life is through the Early Educators Conference, which has been really fun. I've been there. So we have a lot of teachers in the early care and education world who they can wind up there with only 40 hours of training, not done on a college campus, not done in any great formal way. And as a community, we've really tried to step up their education of those teachers. And so this Early Educators Conference has been housed at your central campus for the last few years and given them an opportunity to really see what it's like to be on a college campus.
Yes.
They get so excited.
Yes.
And then you're working on actually getting them into your system and training them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, and Cindy, we wouldn't be able to do this without support from you and Children's Services Council and other partners that we have who focus on early childhood education and preschool and voluntary pre-K and such important issues. We all know the research shows that if we don't get our children early on track and on schedule for learning, that it's going to be increasingly more and more challenging for them the older they get and the further they get through education to be able to be fully successful by the time they get to college, for sure. So it's important for us to maintain that commitment to our education programs as well. So we've got a variety of different programs that train teachers and educate teachers at all different levels, an associate in science degree in early childhood education that then prepares them to work in our preschools and BPKs and other settings. And the projected job openings in those areas, as I understand it, is supposed to continue to rise. So there's lots of job opportunities in those areas, and the pay's pretty good depending on the track that they go into.
Well, we're trying to work on that.
And we need to continue to improve that.
It's been a little sad, but as we keep trying to increase the quality of the teachers
Yes.
and break that mindset that it's babysitting,
Exactly.
it's actually education, truly from infants. What the research has shown that brain development starts from the minute that baby pops out.
Yes.
And so we have to make sure that those that are working with the children give them that nurturing and that love.
Sure.
That attachment is critical, but also to recognize the role that they can play in stimulating that brain so that by the time they enter school, they already have a lot of the tools that they need.
Yes.
And they're not winding up in your system later going, we still can't read.
Right.
That somehow they made it through all of elementary school without being able to read.
Yes.
We are, and you're a great partner in this, trying to make sure through the campaign for grade level reading, which is in Broward known as Broward Reads, that we are going to get every child in Broward reading on grade level by third grade.
Excellent.
So
if they
train
can't,
those teachers.
and if the students can't read by the time they come to us, but even earlier at high school, it's hard for them to be successful in other courses, right? Because fundamentally, learning is largely based on the ability to read and write well. So you can't learn psychology or sociology or any of the humanities or anything really. I mean, even in mathematics, you got to be able to read and do word problems still.
Yeah.
So
whether it's on an iPad or a
That's right.
laptop or a computer of any sort, it's still reading.
That's exactly right. So you mentioned in your introductory remarks that we have bachelor's degrees in some areas now too. In fact, the first year I came here, we started the first bachelor's degrees at the college after approval and review from the state. And we did it targeting, in some cases, one of the most challenging areas for us to be able to get students to enroll in it, but we felt like one of the most important areas, and that was working with our school district to provide trained teachers in a variety of different areas that they have a hard time getting enough qualified teachers in, and that would be in the math and science areas, for especially in high school and middle grades, and in exceptional education, or what we used to call special education for students with special learning needs. And so We have a very strong program now in all of those areas. We could use more students to choose to go into those areas. In math and science in particular, we have very strong enrollments in exceptional education, which is nice to see. There are a lot of good-hearted people who just really want to help children especially, but people of all ages who need to learn with special learning needs of a variety of different kinds, obviously. So last I checked, we had more than 100 students enrolled in that program, so it's very strong, but the school district and others could use all they can take in those areas because we need them at all levels of education. In the math and science areas, it probably wouldn't be surprising to you that many students, if they're really good at math and science, have great career opportunities in a lot of those STEM areas that we discussed earlier.
Right.
And they have really good starting salaries, and that's not always the case when it comes to education, right, and teacher education. Now, fortunately, a lot of people choose to be teachers not just for the earnings, because if it was just the earnings, I wouldn't have any faculty and we wouldn't have any teachers in K-12. But many people want and have a love and passion to be educators, and they want to help children learn. And so it is a real challenge for our school district, I know, and that's what we're trying to help with, is to supply more math and science teachers, especially in the high school and middle grade areas. So we have programs in that as well.
So for those who are watching who may think about this, can they take a passion? Is it possible, if you're passionate about teaching, to learn enough of the math and science through your courses to be able to teach it, or do you have to be a math or science whiz first?
Yeah, well, here's what I'd suggest for anybody who's interested out there. And by the way, I say this to people who maybe already have a bachelor's degree in some area, or maybe even have been working in a career. They may be midlife. In fact, I know you know our Vice President for Student Services that you were just talking with, Marie DeSanctis now, used to be Marie Wright, former principal at Fort Lauderdale High School, in a variety of roles, but she's a good example of this. She was an engineer, Georgia Tech trained engineer.
No kidding.
And worked in the engineering field for many years, and then decided that, you know what, I just don't have a passion for this anymore, and went back and got some additional education and training so that she could become a teacher in math and science. She did that for a while. Anyway, she ended up going into an area that she now loves, in education. And so for anyone out there who's got some kind of educational background and maybe is looking for a change and has a passion for education and helping children, we have programs that can help them transition and give them the courses that they need to become a teacher. In fact, we've got what we call an educator preparation program that can just give you the pedagogy courses if you have a background or degree in math and science and some other areas, because you already know that content.
Right.
This then teaches you things like how to manage the classroom, how to put together your course preparation, etc. So there are options like that. But when it comes down to math and science in particular, you're going to have to take quite a bit of math and science courses. You've got to be really well versed in those areas, or you won't be qualified really to teach some of the upper level math courses, especially in our high schools. And in high school today, students really need to get to at least Algebra 2 or its equivalent, and in some cases higher than that, especially if they want to go into one of these STEM areas. So the teachers have to be more advanced than that, obviously. So anyone who's interested in those kind of programs, any of our programs, as a matter of fact, there are over 150 different degrees that we offer. The education track is just one of 8 career pathways that we talk about now. They can go to our website, they can look at the curriculum for each one of those 150 different programs, including math and science, and look at the courses that they would have to take. And more importantly, if they're really searching for and looking for a career area that they want to go into, or if they're just getting ready to go to school for the first time, they need to come out to campus and meet with one of our advisors who can help them think through the areas that they're interested in. And we have people who specialize in each of those career areas, like education, and they can help them answer those kind of questions.
Can we talk about some of those other career pathways and maybe which campus also Because I know different campuses have different focuses.
Mm-hmm. So all of we actually have 12 locations now. We have 4 large campuses that most people in Broward County probably know about. They know about at least 3 of them maybe. They're going to be more familiar with the one that's closest to them. And we try to provide locations that are easy for people to drive to, going back to that transportation issue we talked about.
Yeah, last week I was supposed to go to a meeting at your central campus, and because what's central to me is your north campus. So I drove in and went, wait, where is this building? Oh yeah, I guess that's not central.
So
yes. Davie is the central campus, right?
That's right. It's in the central part of the county. We refer to it the Davie campus or the central campus. It's the largest campus, but then the north campus, it's closest to where you live, is in Coconut Creek beside the Turnpike, and then the south campus is down in Pembroke Pines. And then our 4th largest campus physically is right here downtown where we sit today on Los Olas Boulevard. But what we call the real 4th campus now is our online campus, which makes it much more accessible and easy. And by the way, it's the fastest growing campus. More and more students are choosing to take 1 or 2 courses, and in some cases all of their courses fully online. So you can get a number of complete degrees online now. And also, something that a lot of people don't realize is we have now designed some of our fully online degrees where you don't have to buy any textbooks. People talk about the cost of tuition. We have one of the lowest tuitions in the nation to make it very affordable. But one of the biggest costs of going to higher education that sometimes surprises people is the cost of textbooks.
Yes.
So we have designed, our faculty and staff have done a great job of designing fully online courseware that students don't have to pay for.
Wow.
So on average, students are paying $1,234 a year for textbooks. So that adds up a lot to the full cost of education. If you eliminate that $1,234 a year by taking a fully online degree, you've saved for transportation or other issues that you have, maybe childcare for a lot of our students who are parents and have to have childcare to be able to go to school.
Are some of those book lists, if you will, the online curriculum part available even if it's a physical course you're taking?
In some cases, that's true. Depending on the course and the location, some of the faculty members and staff have used an online platform to also utilize, even if the students are taking the course on the campus and in the classroom. So back to the main campuses, though, that most people in Broward County are familiar with, where most of the 67,000 students take at least some, if not all, of their courses. The campus in Davie, the central campus, is the largest and the oldest. They have some unique programs, the arts programs I already mentioned. We have a brand new health simulation program where most of our nursing students are. One of our premier programs, I would say, working with all of our hospitals in the community, and one of our best career areas, obviously. Nursing and all of the allied health programs are really well paying. Even during the recession, there was job growth in the allied health fields and nursing fields. So, and those are jobs that will not be outsourced to anywhere else.
Right.
High demand.
And as our population is aging,
exactly,
that's going to...
We can't produce enough nurses. I mean, our hospitals will take every one of our nurses. Our students have one of the highest passing rates in the nation. The highest passing rate for our nursing students, higher than any university or college in South Florida, and the most affordable. Now, one of the reasons that works so well for us, and one of the reasons it's a top program, is that most of our faculty have real-time experience having been a practicing nurse in one of our hospitals locally. In fact, the dean of our nursing program was a longtime head of nursing at Memorial Healthcare. So they have the academic standings to be able to know the curriculum and to teach that, but also practical learning, because it doesn't get much more practical than in nursing. I mean, we have a lot of students who like the idea and think they want to be nurses, but as soon as they see, an injection, they may have a different idea about it. So the practical side of nursing is very real. You can't just sit in a classroom and do nursing. But other allied health programs we have, from radiology to, there's a dozen different allied health programs that are all really great careers. other than physicians and a few other high-level PhD or master's degree level positions that are in hospitals, there are on average 10 technicians that are supporting them in a hospital. So whenever you go for a physical or go to the hospital if you have to, people who are operating all those different pieces of equipment in addition to nurses are trained by us and have to pass some form of certification after that degree that they earn to be able to get into those career areas.
So I was very fortunate recently to be present as you and Newton Sannon from OIC announced a great new partnership.
Yes, yes.
Do any of those fit into, well, tell us a little bit. Why don't we start with that, about that partnership that you're doing with them?
Yes, well, OIC is a great organization that helps people from special populations. They work with a lot of low-income and minority populations to help them get training to be able to seek good employment. So a lot of what they do is entry-level certifications in a variety of different areas, a good bit of it in information technology areas. So, if you've got an interest in an IT area, you can take industry certifications like Microsoft A+ certifications that you can even take on your own, or you can go here to Broward College or other places, our technical colleges or other places, and take short-term kind of training programs that may qualify you then to be able to work with an organization. But what happens to a lot of those folks who maybe get one certification or an entry-level job, for them to advance within an organization, they ultimately really need to get a degree in something. So we're working with OIC to have a transferability partnership kind of approach where we can give those folks credit for what they've already learned with the certifications and then put them on a pathway perhaps to an associate in science degree in information technology, and now they're prepared for higher earnings, a higher level of degree, and then they could even continue with us toward a bachelor's degree in information technology that might prepare them for a supervision or management level position in an organization. So that's the idea. It's a great organization. They have great credibility in the communities that they work in, and so any of their folks that they've worked with now to provide some level of training can now continue their studies if they choose to and would like to at Broward College.
Which is a great advantage. I mean, anybody who reads the paper sees that there's a real underrepresentation of minorities in those fields. So the fact that you've stepped up excuse me, and created that opportunity is terrific.
Yeah, it's very important. We're still, even though we have added bachelor's degrees, we still are an open door institution. It's important for us to serve our entire community. And there's still far too many folks who are not going into some level of post-secondary education. And we know that's what you need to be able to get good careers in the future. As you mentioned in the opening remarks, Cindy, our community is so diverse. It's a beautiful place, and you see it at Broward College. There's actually now more than 180 different nations of origin in our student population. A third of our student population was not born in the United States.
Wow.
Their families have brought them here seeking the American dream through higher education, and some of our best and brightest students are from countries all over the world.
So, I just want to go back to that partnership with OIC for a second and hear from the other half of that partnership, Newton Sannon, who is the president and CEO of OIC, who's going to talk to us about what this partnership will mean to him and to South Florida and the community that he serves.
Great.